CARICOM One-on-One. I am Michelle Nurse with this week's edition of the program. Today we're talking energy, a critically important element in our growth as a community and one of the key factors in our pursuit of resilience. We're chatting today with Dr. Gary Jackson, who is the Executive Director of the Caribbean Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, familiarly called CCREEE. Welcome to the program, Dr. Jackson.
Thank you very much, Michelle.
Okay, before we get into energy and CCREEE, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Dr. Jackson? What are his passions? What motivates him?
All right, I could go back as far as I remember myself, from the age of maybe 3. I actually started primary school at a very early age. My mother, bless her, she passed. She was a principal. She was actually teaching at the school and didn't want me to go to kindergarten. So I kind of started in the primary level very early. But what was interesting about my life was that I was very inquisitive. Always want to find out and always ask the questions. So at a very early age, every summer I'll have a project. And that project will be building a plane, building a box car, to the point where as I got older, I would try to fix appliances. Detriment to myself, I would have a few shocks. I would have a few accidents. The interesting thing about my mother was that she didn't discourage me. She actually kind of protected me but wanted me to explore. And I think that is how I got into engineering. So it was funny that when I got to high school, I tend to play a lot of football and I was not doing so well at school. But my mother realized that I had the potential. So my teachers would tell me to give up the sciences. But my mother said, no, you need to just put the football down and focus. And got into the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, and did my first degree there in mechanical engineering. And then worked in the private sector for a while, and then went on to do a master's. So I always had a 5-year plan. Never thought I'd have done a PhD. So when I finished the master's, I went back into private sector. I worked for a while, and then I just got this vision that maybe I need to do the PhD because I wanted to understand more about the energy sector and understand some of the elements. And I did something in solar energy for air conditioning because I recognized it was a main contributor for energy consumption. Being in the Caribbean, it was a hot climate, unlike the United States, which is on another and or the UK. You find that they use a lot of heating, so they use a lot of fuel for heating. So I thought about air conditioning and using solar, and that's what was my research. And then did a PhD, and then I'm back in the system, working in the private sector, working academia, and working in government. I like to see transformation. I tend to focus a lot on the youth. I think it's an element of how my mother drives my life. I think she has been the cornerstone of everything that I do today and who I am today. I tend to want the Caribbean to be more a resilient community, so I tend to focus a lot on education and how you apply that education to your lives. The empowerment of people, just watching people grow, is part of what I am passionate about and what motivates me.
Let's talk a bit about renewable energy. Whenever we hear about renewable energy, it's often twinned with energy efficiency.
Correct.
What exactly is renewable energy, and why is it so important to us now in the region to focus on renewables?
I want to just go back to what you said about it being twinned with energy efficiency, because I think I want to start with energy efficiency first. This is a marriage that can't have a divorce. And renewable energy and energy efficiency is actually a marriage for life. And I think one of the things that we need to focus on is how we use energy and how efficient we are and how we conserve. And then we can now do the overlay of the renewable energy. Renewable energy is really taking an energy source that can be replenished, and it self-replenishes. So wind, solar, hydro, it's just one of those sources that will never go away unless it's the end of mankind. And I always tell people that, we won't have to do this if nobody's around anymore. And we're doing this because we are human beings living on Earth, and we need to preserve Mother Earth so that we can continue to live. And then we go into the whole resilience. So The Industrial Revolution, oil was explored. We recognize that it has done its job. It provided development, it provided technology that would have given us the opportunity to look at other resources. So I believe renewable energy is a form of creating an environment for us that is friendly, cleaner, and that will build resilience, in particular for the region. You will notice that we have experienced so much weather systems that have impacted us. You have the naysayers that say climate change is not real. That's fair enough. What I always say is that nothing was the same. Once we have done something and embed something, it must have changed. So the fact that you say climate change is not real is false, because we could not say that nothing is happening and everything is stagnant. We have created fossil fuel into the system, we have put it in engines, we have leaked it in rivers, we have leaked it in the sea, so we recognize that we have done damage. So right now we are doing corrective measures. I've always, in some of my conferences when I'm talking, I always apologize to children, because we have really set a bad precedence for them, we have set a wrong path for them, and we are now correcting our wrongs. And I've said to them, I'm sorry, but we are trying to make it right now. And we are hoping that you can be a part of the change going forward. And that is why my preamble, helping them to help themselves, is what we are focusing on right now.
So tell us now about CCREEE. Why is CCREEE important to us when we have so many other organizations and programs and projects that are also energy focused? What's the difference?
CCREEE is really going to bring some focus to the agenda. We want to be more of a point of contact. We want to be more driving applied research to our regional universities. We want to kind of give member states the opportunity to learn, understand, inform their public policies. So just to let you know that we recently came out of a strategic retreat where we identified 3 priorities. And those 3 priorities were, first one was create, and what we want to do is establish a market intelligence or repository of data and information that will inform member states in making decisions. We don't want them to go out there and because they have just heard what other persons are doing, we want them to have the raw information to help them to make decisions, and we'll help them to do that. The second priority is optimize. There are quite a number of things happening in the region, and we want to help member states to prepare projects properly. We want to help them to de-risk their projects. We want to help them to develop projects from ground zero up, and to help them to build that capacity so that they can actually do it for themselves, and we'll always give them support. And the third priority is embed and transform. And we recognize that we have a lot of vulnerable groups out there, the youth, the elderly, gender. In particular, you will find out in a lot of areas where women are not more involved in the energy sector. So what we want to do is use sustainable energy to drive that transformation to support the most vulnerable groups.
Okay, and where does CCREEE get this money?
All right, so right now CCREEE is in a very good position. So it has about 3 development partners, UNIDO and the Austrian Development Agency, the Spanish government, and most recently European Union. We'll be seeking support from other development partners, and they see the need of driving the change as well. And just to let you know, in that development, we also are part of a global sustainable energy center. So we have one in Pacific, you have one in East Africa, West Africa, South Africa. And what we're doing is trying to work together to solve the world's energy problems.
And where do you see the CARICOM energy sector, say, in another 10 years with our exploitation of our renewable energy sources?
Let me take a track before I tell you where I see ourselves. I would like to say this directly to the member states, that once you have the will, you can make it happen. The transition can happen. The 100% that you have spoken about, the 50% in some of the energy policy can be achieved, but the countries will need to have the will, and they need to believe in their people. They need to empower their people, and they need to understand what they're dealing with. So I believe if once that will is there, I believe in 10 years, the transition can happen, and the transformation that we seek in our energy policy today is possible. And I've seen all the targets in all the countries. and they are ambitious, but I believe if you have the will and you encourage your population and you trust your population, you can achieve.
Okay. That's all the time that we have for the program this week. Thank you, Dr. Jackson, for being here. Do you have any final words?
I think this opportunity is a great opportunity for the region at this point in time. I would like to encourage our member states to be attentive to our people's needs. We recognize our youth have a very critical and integral part to play. I would say to our universities, we are going to be calling on you for the transformation actions. We are expecting you to use applied research to solve our problems. We recognize pure science is important, but we also recognize that persons are requiring your help. Our citizens on the road are requiring your help, and that we will need your leadership in this transformation. Thank you very much.